My name is Paul Hageman. I'm Chief Class Judge of the 917 class that's assembling behind me. And I also help the selection committee put this group of cars together that we'll see here on Sunday. So I think most car guys know the Porsche 917, probably from the movie Le Mans with Steve McQueen. But the Porsche 917 was the first significant race car that really put Porsche on the map, dethroned Ferrari, and made Porsche the juggernaut that it was in motorsport for the following decades. And the 917 is just an incredible tour de force, 12-cylinder. Eventually they turbocharged it. They raced in Can-Am and were very successful that way. So what we have here is the full picture of 917 production, the Spyders, the Ks, the Coupes, but it is one of, consistently rated one of the greatest race cars of the 20th century. And a good friend of mine actually says, if the 917 was a dinosaur, it'd be the T-Rex. So they are really just phenomenal. They're cars which were built for homologation purposes. They're actually sports racing cars, not prototype cars, which was an interesting FIA distinction. They had to meet that criteria, but they are really essentially a prototype. There's not much to them. And they ran at Le Mans. Le Mans overall win in 1970 and 71, Daytona winners, European Sports Car Championship winners. They won in Can-Am Championship, and really one of the winningest models of race car of all time. So originally the 917 was designed as a coupe. In 1969, they really had to figure out the handling. So they were a reliable car to begin with, but getting the handling right was what it took to win a race. They had a lot of involvement from golf. We have a lot of golf cars on the field, and as we all know, they were a pivotal point in 917 development with John Horseman. But what really became the successful sports racing car was the 917K, which is the coupe with the short tail. There was also the long tail, which was developed for Le Mans racing. They achieved significantly higher speeds, well over 200 miles an hour and 20 miles an hour above the standard Ks. But they also then produced Spyders, and they raced Spyders for the Can-Am series, the 917-10, and then at the very end of the line, the 917-30. So when the 917 came out, it really was the car that the top racing drivers wanted to be in, right? Because you want to be in a winning car. The odd thing was a lot of the Porsche drivers would test them and then choose to be in some of the older cars for the races because they said, we haven't quite figured this out yet. By the time they figured out the handling, they were hugely successful, but these are pretty fast, scary cars. And with a tube frame, in some cases, the Le Mans winner here has a magnesium tube frame. There's hot oil running through it. It's a fiberglass body. The engine's behind you. There's nothing to protect you. And when you're doing well over 200 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight, it takes a lot of guts and confidence in the car to do it. But Porsche attracted with the 917 all of the best drivers in the era. And one of the great things about the collection we've assembled is there's not a driver that isn't captured by one of these cars or a race that isn't captured by one of these cars. So it's really a successful lineup of cars here, showcasing the model. This is by far the best collection of 917s that's ever been assembled at a Concours event. Probably rivals some of the racing events, particularly Porsche-specific racing events. But in terms of telling the story, the breadth and depth of the collection, we really have a hugely significant collection, and I think something that won't be repeated for quite a long time.